All right, Marcellus, let's keep it rolling. Let's roll out to Seattle, or the Seattle area. And we're going to be joined by Fox Sports college football and NFL analyst Brock Huard. Brock, we want to talk about the Seattle Seahawks and perhaps their interest in Antonio Brown. There are reports that Russell Wilson would love for Antonio Brown to join the Seahawks. We have discussed that issue here on Speak for Yourself and want to ask you, as someone that lives right outside of Seattle, I'm sure you follow the Seahawks, do you think Antonio Brown would be a good fit for the Seahawks and Russell Wilson?
The quarterback thinks so. I don't think the team thinks so. I think the quarterback was pretty clear down at the Pro Bowl, Jason, when he said he wanted superstars. And the Seahawks had about $70 million of cap space, had lots of draft picks. And I know that Russell sat down in his home in Southern California, New Mexico, and said, okay, what kind of superstars am I going to get? How am I going to compete in this division with a much better 49ers roster, an Arizona team that's better, the Rams that still have some superstars, including Aaron Donald, that attacks him every Sunday and Monday that they play. So he wanted superstars, and they didn't get it. They really didn't add many. They went a different route. They added a lot of depth on their offensive line in Benson Mayowa and Bruce Irvin, some guys that were productive, but certainly not superstars. They haven't even signed Jadeveon Clowney back, who continues to be on the street. So I think the quarterback wants a superstar because he knows he's in the prime of his career. He's got 3 or 4 more years in the absolute prime of his career. And while DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are phenomenal, the rest of the receiving core is pretty thin. And in one of the most difficult divisions, if not the most difficult division in all the NFL, he would love to add a superstar. I cannot imagine the Seahawks feeling the same way. I just can't see them going down that road. Quentin Dunbar, they traded for, obviously got into some legal scrapes a week ago. So they're trying to still figure that end of it out. I just can't see them making this move until Antonio Brown proves himself a good human being, a good person, and everything else before even thinking about adding him as a teammate.
I think it's worth the roll of the dice, and I think this is a great situation, not just talking about schematically and having a top-end receiver to add to their receiving core. Yeah, they drafted some depth, but in terms of cherry on top, you need an Antonio Brown, and like you said, a division where they're getting better. Every single team is going to return to the roar this year, so you have to stand pat with those guys. You have to stay pace with those teams. And that said, this is a locker room that has dealt with some personalities. You want to go as recent as Josh Gordon and his issues. No, he didn't work out on the field, but they still brought in a Josh Gordon despite the strikes on his resume. And then you talk about having a Marshawn Lynch, Russell Wilson, and Richard Sherman in the same locker room and succeeding. You're talking about a guy who doesn't talk, a guy who says everything perfectly, and a guy who is just going to give you his peace of mind all the time. And Pete Carroll was able to deal with those latitude of emotions. So I think this is a good situation. Roll the dice. If AB acts up, like New England, get him up out of here. But there's a lot of upside to AB on your roster.
Brock, I don't have anything interesting to add to this. I'm pretty much on the record. They need to give AB some weapons. Just give me, because I'm going to bring you back on at some point, give me a 10-second take. I think Brian Schottenheimer is the wrong offensive coordinator for Russell Wilson. You say?
I say he's the perfect offensive coordinator for Pete Carroll. So, yeah, maybe not for Russell. But again, this is the tug of war. Going back and forth with a franchise quarterback at Russell's stature who wants AB, who wants some superstars. This is still a head coach and organization that says we play defense, we run the football, we win games, and have won them that way for a decade, and we'll continue to do so.
All right, let's move to another topic. Cam Newton's still out there on the free agent market. I've been arguing on this show, and Marcellus agrees with me. Cam Newton to Dallas isn't the craziest thing to think about and ponder, particularly if they can't work out something with Dak Prescott. I'd rather go into the season with Cam Newton and Andy Dalton. But anyway, the question has been, with a lot of people, is Cam the right fit for the New England Patriots? So I want to ask you, better location for Cam Newton, Dallas or New England?
Oh, yeah. For me, that's New England. Personally, I would like to watch that more than anything else. That's totally selfish and my own personal bias. I would like to see Cam with Bill Belichick. I'd like to see him the first time he walks in with one of those outfits or one of the styles that he brings to it. And Bill says, no, go back in, change, try again. We'll do this. And he walks in with, again, a little bit more. And he's like, nope, walk right back in. So personally, that's just my own bias. From a football standpoint, I can't imagine Jason and Marcellus. I can't imagine Dak Prescott sitting to the sidelines and saying, yeah, I'll hold out. I think he's looking at the guy that was picked 33 picks before him in the 4th round, and Kirk Cousins, and saying, I will play it the way Kirk Cousins played it. I will bet on myself. I'm tough. I'm durable. I'm reliable. I'm not going to give Andy Dalton 1 rep at practice, let alone let Cam Newton and Andy Dalton take my job and my opportunity. So it's a 4th-round pick. You never stop being a 4th-round pick. Kirk Cousins never stopped being a 4th-round pick. He's going to bet on himself. So I don't see that even as a viable situation. It's a fun hypothetical, but I don't see it viable. I see New England is viable, and I think that'd be a tremendous fit for Cam. I think it would speak volumes around the league. I think Cam at times was difficult to handle in Carolina. I think Ron Rivera was the perfect coach who took all those arrows and all those bullets and stood in front of everybody in that situation. I think if Cam was to go to New England, that would really resonate in the league with a lot of decision makers and a real opportunity for him to resurrect his market value.
Now, let me be quick and let me be clear. I agree with you, Brock. It's strong for Whitlock to say, I agree with him. He more led the witness. Basically tell me if there's no Dak there, would Cam Newton be better in Dallas? Yeah, there's no Dak there, but Dak will be there. Stephen Jones has been on record saying that's their franchise quarterback going forward. That said, I'm with you, Brock. Take him to New England. Let's see what happens. They already have an adoration for him, a respect for his game. Bill Belichick's been on record with that. And in the NFL, you eat what you kill. And last time I checked, Stidham has not killed anything yet, so it's not his turn to eat. Cam Newton goes there, he's the starter, and he takes them some places. Go to New England.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.